When a man messes up and realizes that he's hurt his family,
I just want to see my daughter.
he searches for a way to find redemption.
Look, get on your feet, then we could talk about you and Zoe spending time together.
He tries his best to be a good person in order to make up for his past mistakes.
I want Zoe to know that I'm her father and that I'm there for her.
He loves you so much.
I love you.
I love you too.
But despite this being what he needed to do, Lamar Silas was the furthest thing from a good man.
Can't stop the rain when it starts to pour.
And what we need to do in this video is understand the dark mind of Lamar Silas, to find reason in his actions, and to figure out how a man could be so evil.
In order to take down the devil, you gotta go down to hell with him. The Joker loves to squeeze the life out of people to ensure that he the last mother they see before the light. And you can't stop the rain. You can't stop the rain when it starts to pour.
To tell Lamar's story, we have to head over to Detroit where it all takes place. There aren't a vast amount of details about Lamar's past and upbringing, but what we do know is that his dad wasn't present and his mother passed away when he was young.
When my mother died, man, I swear, me all the way up, all I wanted was revenge.
Following her passing, he was sent into foster care, where they didn't allow him to form attachments to anyone.
When I was in foster care, they moved me around to keep me from developing attachments.
So built up with anger and hatred towards the world, combined with a lack of love and bonds, Lamar going into the gang-ridden Detroit streets was a recipe for disaster. Lamar was built different from other guys, and eventually he was running things. There were 3 main territories involved: Southwest Detroit, River Rouge, and Ecorse, all in close proximity to one another. But Lamar was running with a group called the Delray Boys and was terrorizing the area, selling heroin and robbing the other dealers of their drugs and money. He became a legend whose name rang bells in the streets for the monstrous acts he carried out.
They say he the one that kidnapped that rapper. Strung him up next to a beehive, naked. Let him get all stung up till his bra coughed up the loot.
He would also get high off cocaine whilst partying, and that's where he met Monique. She then fell pregnant with a child that allegedly wasn't his, but regardless, after the birth of her daughter, who she named Zoe, Lamar stayed and was present in her early childhood. But things changed when Lamar was finally convicted of one of his crimes and was charged with assault. His lawyer was able to get him a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity, which is an affirmative defense by excuse in a criminal case, arguing that the defendant is not responsible for their actions due to a psychiatric disease at the time of the criminal act. It's hard to fake this and actually get the verdict, so if this is the case, then Lamar may actually have a proven mental illness such as severe bipolar, schizophrenia, or another condition that will prevent him from thinking clearly. However, we'll see what he truly does have in his dark mind as the timeline progresses. Due to the insanity defense, he didn't have to go to prison, and instead did 2 years in a psychiatric hospital. But when he came out, things weren't the same. His streets were taken, and so was his woman. Lamar had his power and family taken from him, and he'll do what he needed to get it back. Whilst Lamar was gone, the 2 gangs that had taken over were 12th Street, led by J-Mo, and the 50 Boys, led by brothers Meech and Terry. And Meech was the same guy in a relationship with Monique, causing Lamar to gain an enemy in him. But in the 2 years he'd been away, his position as the main man in Ecorse had of course changed, and he had to learn to be below J-Mo.
Good to see you back. But you know, I'm guessing your pockets is kind of low. If you want to film, you want with us. I'm just saying, a man of your experience would be welcomed in my crew.
So, man, you serious about that job? Look, man, my days is past. All right, I want the king of these streets to actually come from Ecorse. All right, you know, I help you to the crown. You give me a cut. You's a smooth motherfucker, huh? Do that well, maybe we'll see about something else. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Luckily for him, he wasn't alone, as 12th Street member Slick used to roll with Lamar before he went away, so he tried to help Lamar get back on track, both in the streets and with Monique.
I want to tighten up your game with Monique, you know what I mean? See, all that rough shit, you know, it works for certain bras and all that, but you know, sometimes you gotta be a little bit more refined, you know what I'm saying? Going away for that long, man, you gotta understand. It makes it tougher, brother. Now, if you want to get back in good graces with Mo and your daughter, you gotta show them that every part of your being is devoted to them. And what you about to do, draw a picture?
Smooth talking.
Lamar was desperate to get Monique and Zoe back in his life, even if it took a bit of lying and deception to get on her good side.
Bro, all these?
Here in the hospital.
Why are you just now giving them to me?
Because I wanted Joe to know that I was trying to get better.
Yeah.
And I hated myself for abandoning y'all, you know? So those letters were what kept me going in that place.
Lamar trying to regain his credibility in the streets and his relationship with Monique were two avenues that contrast each other. One requires him to be a soft, gentle soul, and one required him to be a monster. J-Mo had been shot and killed by the 50 Boys, which put the leadership position in question. So Lamar saw this as an opportunity to take out J-Mo's second in command, Femel. Lamar beats him badly, hospitalizing him. But his reign of torture didn't stop there, as even in hospital, Femel couldn't escape him.
Peekaboo. When the doctors let you go, how about you get in that janky ass car of yours and you take a road trip for the rest of your life, huh?
Lamar sadistically scares Femel out of the city, and just like that, he takes the reins of 12th Street. Lamar's manner in which he dealt with Femel caused me to think that this man may be sadistic. If we look at sadistic personality disorder criteria, we can see that he used cruelty and violence to establish dominance and make Femel leave the city. This treatment was unusually harsh considering Femel and Lamar don't have much history, and he seemed to get some amusement from witnessing the psychological and physiological pain of Femel, especially when he wet himself in fear. This was clearly Lamar operating through intimidation or terror to get Femel to comply. That's already 4 of the criteria, which is all the condition needed to be diagnosed. But even the criteria of humiliating or demeaning people in the presence of others is another one Lamar carries out. When 12th Street member Tiny plays devil's advocate to Lamar's plans, he makes an example of him in front of the others.
Aren't you the one that said our new mandate was business first? I mean, no disrespect. I'm just trying to think of the bigger picture.
Thank you for the reminder.
Anytime.
All right.
I don't pay you to think about the big picture. Matter of fact, I don't pay you to think at all.
Come on. Come on, man. We need all the soldiers we got, Jay.
Both traumatizing Tiny and humiliating him in front of the crew, Lamar definitely carries some sadism within, but this moment of choking out Tiny may have been displacement of Lamar's fear. Lamar had stolen the 50 Boys' stash of drugs worth a lot of money, and as a result, the 50 Boys had taken something much more important to Lamar.
We got Zoe. Even exchange. The stash you stole for your daughter.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Me up. Do it. And you never see your daughter again. Same thing if you try to make moves against us or call the popo.
However, Lamar's pride stops him from giving up the stash. Showing his ego in the streets is more important than protecting his family. The stash eventually gets returned anyway due to Slick being held hostage and tortured to give it up. And because this whole event put Zoe in danger, Monique shuts Lamar out.
Zoe!
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You ain't got to say to me.
Look, you know this was not my fault, right?
You and me, you a lot more than you breathe. Stay the hell away from my house.
Meech and the 50 Boys had ruined what Lamar had left, and now he was looking for vengeance. First, he shoots at Meech. But Meech had security to protect him. Then he plans to shoot Terry, but there were too many school kids around. And then on top of all of this, his own gang turned their back on him when they realized without him bringing in a supply, he's worthless trouble to them.
Shut the fuck up before I choke your ass out again, homie. You got me f***ed up. You think I'm scared of your little punk ass pistol?
Put an S on that mother.
With all of these failures and now being alone, Lamar gets frustrated and once more uses displacement as a defense mechanism and gets violent with Monique.
Away from my house before I get a restraining order on your nutty ass. Let me go!
nothing left to lose, Slick knew that Lamar wasn't someone to be around right now and went to pick up his things to get away, but he wasn't fast enough.
And you can't stop the rain. You can't stop the rain. When it starts to pour.
This motherfucker.
Lamar murdered his closest friend to relieve his own anger. Even without documenting the rest of his actions, it would be clear to see from what he's carried out already that Lamar is a psychopath. Using the Hare Psychopathy Checklist revised, Lamar is evidently as psychopathic as one gets. How the checklist works is that you mark criteria 0, 1 or 2 dependent on the certainty and presence of the criteria, giving a total maximum score of 40 as there are 20 items. The threshold to be labelled as a psychopath is 25 out of 40. Lamar Silas scores at least 32. And that's only because there's not enough evidence about his childhood for some other criteria. He is the embodiment of a psychopath and is a danger to everyone he associates with. If someone gets close to him, it won't be long before they meet their demise. But even if someone has no connection at all to Lamar, his lack of empathy makes him a danger to society. And in an attempt to try and snatch Meech and Terry's younger sister, he stabs her boyfriend Darius for trying to protect her, killing him in the process.
No! Don't let her go.
He's sorry, little man. I gotta cut you off.
Lamar murdered a child and showed zero remorse for doing so. This tells us that in his mind, anything goes in this game if it means getting revenge, and he is simply incapable of feeling normal human levels of remorse. In retaliation, Lamar himself is almost killed. He survives, but with a gunshot wound to the arm. He breaks into Monique's house to her surprise to try and clean himself up. When she obviously tells him to get out of her house, it ends up with him physically assaulting her once again, but even more seriously this time.
Every single time I got this intro, you wanna up. Why? Why, homie? Why?
Dad!
Zoe sees Lamar for the monster he is, and Lamar believes that until all of his enemies are dealt with, he'll never get his family back. Because as I mentioned, mixing family and the streets rarely ever works. In order to get closer to taking out Meech and Terry, Lamar had been secretly working with Kato, the only female 50 Boys member, due to previous relations with her father as they rode together back in the day.
Lamar and my dad used to run together. After he died, I got myself in a jam. Lamar took care of the body and ate the charge.
This is how he was able to steal their stash in the first place and be a couple steps ahead at all times. But this relationship also caused his downfall. When Meech found out, both Kato and Lamar had their death sentences signed, and soon after this would be the demise of them both, as Meech and fellow 50 Boys member B Mickey had outsmarted Lamar.
I love you.
By all accounts, Lamar was dead.
Lamar is dead. So now all we gotta do is pool our resources.
We're doing the best we can, but I'm not sure it'll be enough.
Lamar Silas? The crime board says that Silas is deceased.
Lamar was miraculously saved by paramedics, and after waking up, he escaped the hospital.
Reports are true. Silas escaped this morning.
Units are canvassing the neighborhood, but there's no sight of Lamar.
He managed to find refuge with his cousin Alvin, but to the streets, Lamar was out for good, and 12th Street and the 50 Boys actually merged together to become BMF, the Black Mafia family. Despite being blessed to survive, it was still a long way for Lamar to get back on his feet, both in the streets and with Monique and Zoe. He starts to make people question if he's truly dead, but Meech stays stubborn in believing the job was done right, so Lamar gives him a violent surprise.
I think that's that nigga Lamar.
Lamar shoots Meech 3 times and he's rushed to the hospital. When Lamar realizes the job's not finished, he tries to reenact the murder of Maserati Rick on Meech.
He was recovering here in room 307 after having been shot by a drug rival. And then they came back on September 12th, 1988 to finish off the job.
Lamar infiltrated the hospital dressed up as a nurse to find and murder Meech for good. But being 2 steps ahead of Lamar, Meech was already gone, causing further frustration for Lamar. Lamar is then arrested on suspicion of the shooting and is forced to be face to face with Meech, showing how he truly feels about their dynamic.
The new Batman movie coming out.
What does that have to do with anything?
Oh, it's a timeless story about good and evil. Batman and the Joker, they're both warriors, but neither gets the better of each other, so they just sharpen each other's skills. The Joker loves to squeeze the life out of people to ensure that he the last motherfucker they see before the light.
He sees himself as the villain, and his awareness of the terror he rains down feeds his narcissism, as his presence is always felt by not just his enemies, but everyone in Southwest Detroit.
Happy feelings in the air.
Lamar beautifully sang Happy Feelings in the Air, but in reality, there were no happy feelings on his side. After Lamar survived getting shot by Meech, his insides were damaged, and he had to wear a colostomy bag for the foreseeable future. And this, combined with all the other factors, causes Lamar to question his purpose.
Dog, we've been tight for years, man, ever since you moved from Detroit as a kid, man. I know you, man. What the is up, man? What's wrong?
I just don't know what's happening to me, man.
And you, Lamar the Beast Silas, all you gotta do is take whatever doubts and drawbacks you have and use this shit for your advantage. Be yourself. The take back was yours.
Alvin reminds Lamar who he is. He may stink really bad, his sexual organs may not work like they used to, his family might not love him, but he is still alive and able to rain down terror on the others in the streets, just like he used to. This reminder causes Lamar to go on a killing spree. His first victim is an ex-12th Street member named Nido, who had shot at Lamar months prior, and Lamar killed him in possibly the most gruesome manner I've ever witnessed. Viewer discretion is actually advised for this one. He whacked him round the head with a wooden plank and impaled it into his throat, before emptying the insides of his colostomy bag into the mouth and open wound of his victim, finding pleasure in doing so, as Nido chokes to death on the digested remains of Lamar Silas, the most humiliating death that could possibly happen to a man. And Lamar doesn't bat an eyelid. If he wasn't convinced of his psychopathic sadism before, you surely see the light now, or the dark in this case. His next kill was Tiny, who had also shot at Lamar those months prior. After a brief tussle, Lamar chokes Tiny to death, which again, he relishes in. He then tries to end Meech and Terry as they leave Detroit for Atlanta. To Lamar's frustration, Meech and Terry make a lucky escape. But with the two of them out of the state, Lamar has freedom to take back the streets and also attempt to take back Monique.
I know I f***ed up, Mo, but I would never hurt you or Zoe.
Did your dizzy ass forget you put your hands on me in front of my daughter and you shot Meech?
How the f*** you defending that motherfucker? He ain't no different from me. I ain't no monster, okay, he is.
In an attempt to soften her defense, Lamar starts to play the victim in order to justify his actions.
When my mother died, man, I swear it fucked me all the way up. All I wanted was revenge.
Lamar's mother's passing definitely contributes to his frustration at the world and potentially decreases his empathy, but doesn't justify the monster he's become. Not long after, Lamar was prepared to kill Meech and Terry's mother, but she was saved by prayer.
You Meech and Terry's mom?
I am. And you are?
Your boys, they hurt me. They hurt me really bad. Sorry, lady.
Why don't you pray with me? I ask you to watch over and heal this young man. I ask you to forgive my boys their trespasses, as awful as they may seem, and and let him know that vengeance does not belong to us, dear Lord, but to you. And it's not too late for him or any of us to be saved through your salvation. We ask this in your mighty name. Amen.
This was the first time someone had managed to change Lamar. He's typically impulsive, he has no empathy, and usually wouldn't hesitate to murder regardless of the victim's pleas. However, this moment could have caused Lamar to have a change of heart, but that turns out to not be the case, as in the following days, Lamar murders again. A BMF member named Soki, who was involved in the kidnapping of Zoe, was now scratched off Lamar's list with a shotgun to the chest. But a moment that shows a different side to Lamar is the saving of Blackie.
Somebody hurt you, huh? No more. I promise. I'm gonna call you Blackie because you black and beautiful. Just like me.
He saves him from his owner who used him for dogfights and quickly develops a bond to Blackie.
I know it hurts, but pain is but an instant, okay? Let me look after you, Blackie.
I don't give a f about this ugly ass goddamn dog.
No, fuck you. Apologize.
I wish the fuck
you apologize to Blackie right here, right now, or I swear to God, man, I'll beat your ass and feed you to him.
I'm sorry, Blackie.
But his reasoning for doing so may have been another way to wow Monique into seeing Lamar's apparent good side.
What do you want?
I just want to show you my new boy. Jealous?
Why y'all scratched up?
Because his owner had him fighting in the pit, but I saved him. The underdog, just like me.
From his perspective, it seems to be working, as Monique slowly lets him back into her life.
After hearing your story, I don't want to keep Zoe away from you. But a lot has happened between us.
I know, and it's gonna take time to build the trust back. But I'm willing to do it, one step at a time.
And as they got closer, they rekindled by dabbling into an old habit of theirs.
You take a trip down memory lane.
Damn, Mo.
What you think about that?
Shit, let's go.
He slowly starts to focus less on his beef and more on making sure he doesn't ruin things with Monique. He puts $30,000 into Zoe's college fund and gifts Monique an expensive necklace, and these appear to get him on Monique's good side. They get closer and closer, but things change when Monique decides to spice things up.
I got something to make you feel better.
Wow, no crack.
Right. I got the pipe.
Monique tries to offer Lamar freebase crack as a switch up of the pure coke they were doing prior, but this causes alarm bells to ring in Lamar's head. The regular coke is of course still a bad drug, but the main effect is that it causes emotions to heighten, lifting the mood of the users. Crack, on the other hand, tends to cause its users to get into a zombie-like relaxed state, completely overflowing their dopamine receptors, and is heavily addictive, typically having more negative connotations. Then you see the moment everything clicks for Lamar. Monique was never letting Lamar back in. His charm and efforts weren't actually doing what he thought they were. Monique had been plotting against Lamar to take him out as he was too dangerous to have around, but because Lamar was aware enough to see through the plot, Monique had made a grand mistake.
You're trying to play me, are you?
Nah, you tripping, let me go.
Meech put you up to this. That motherfucker Meech convinced you to betray me. Monique, she made me do it. What? Meech turned her against me. She betrayed me, man. She made me do this shit, bro.
For once, Lamar seems to actually have some regret for what he just did. He had taken Zoe's mother from her, but more importantly to his narcissistic self, he had taken the life of the last person he thought could make him feel loved. He indulges in more coke and displaces his frustration onto Alvin.
Don't nobody tell me what the f you're doing, you understand me?
This then causes Alvin to realize he might need to save himself. When Lamar is in a deep high, Alvin gives the crack pipe to him, telling him that everyone he loves is gone and that it's his fault. So this is the last resort, and Lamar falls for it. Meech then comes around and holds Lamar at gunpoint, but realizes Lamar might be past that.
Why the f would I put your sorry ass out your misery when I could just watch you suffer? You see this? It's gonna feel like a noose. It's gonna get tighter and tighter every day on your neck until you can't breathe no more. Smoke that shit.
It's revealed that Meech worked with Alvin to make Lamar turn to crack, and he ensured Lamar would stay this way forever, becoming a zombie and being a slave to the pipe. Lamar's psychopathic, sadistic, and narcissistic nature had caused him to lose everyone he had. He ruined the lives of so many. He lied, manipulated, tormented, and murdered to get his way. And for a long time, he was the reason people in South Detroit had to feel fear when they saw him in the streets. Now when they see him in the streets, there's satisfaction gained to know he would be in invisible chains, tied to the pipe for however long.